Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited. Isis, All That Glitters. The goddess next door takes on a bikini-clad bank robber in this action-packed all-new Isis series adventure. Get Isis, All That Glitters in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today. One of my viewers wanted me to talk about 2022's manly female rappers versus 1980s feminine female rappers. Now, I grew up with rap music back in the 1980s, and I saw how the rap genre, which was mostly men from the late 70s all the way up until about the mid 80s, and then the ladies started stepping in, making their own raps and having their own distinct style. Now, one of the first female rappers I used to listen to was Roxanne Shantae, also known as the Real Roxanne, and she had her own distinct style, which was just like the mid-80s, but she was also very soft and feminine, even though she could go out here and really drop those hard lyrics. Now, in addition to your Roxanne, we also had your women like Miss Melody, the former wife of KRS-One, who was also a very attractive sister, who was also great with lyrics. Then there was MC Lyte, who represented the street style of the hood with her hard lyrics, but she could also be very soft and feminine for many different songs, and depending on the song, she could go from hard to soft, but she always was a very feminine woman when she was on the mic dropping those lyrics. Now, there were also other rappers like Salt and Pepper, who again, they were just like girls on the block, and even though they were like girls on the block, they were very feminine, and they had their own distinct style with the classic 1988 song Push It, and other songs that they had on their first debut album. So your Salt, Pepper, and Spinderella, they came together to become a trio of very attractive ladies who could, again, drop it hard on the mic, but could be soft and feminine for guys to aspire to want to date or go out here and marry. Now, in addition to those ladies, there was Queen Latifah, who, when she came on the scene, I believe in 1989, she presented an image of strong black womanhood and rapped out here with very strong raps about black female empowerment. I remember her first song coming out in '89 on Video Music Box, and again, while she was presenting an image of strong black womanhood, she also expressed a lot of femininity as related to how she presented herself. She always presented herself as a very regal, ladylike woman, and that was one of the key parts of the image she presented, presenting a positive image of black womanhood in her early albums. Now, there were also rappers from the UK. There were female rappers such as Moni Love and the Cookie Crew, and they were both, again, presenting us rap from the UK, but they always were soft and feminine as they presented themselves. Now, as we went from the late 80s to the early 90s, we got female rappers like Isis from X-Clan, and we got Precious from New Jersey, and all of these women, again, were very soft and feminine, but while they were out here dropping their lyrics, they never lost their femininity at all. So there was a big difference between a female rapper of today and a rapper of the 2022, because in 2022 we started to see what we see right now, because we started to see a decline in rap starting in, I say, about 1993 as related to female rappers, because what started with female rappers is the same thing that happened with gangster rap back in the late 80s. We started to see rappers going out here and making compromises in order to try to appeal to white audiences. And as people started to appeal to white audiences, they wanted to seek white validation. Now, what really started the decline of female rap to make it what it is right now is that we started to see a lot of these female rappers following in the style of your NWA and your 2 Live Crew. Now, there were female rappers who were decent, like your Yo-Yo and many others. But the whole thing is, your female rap really started to decline because we went from seeing, again, strong feminine women who wanted to present a positive image of black womanhood to black women who wanted to go out here and adopt the Jezebel role because they wanted to appeal to those larger white audiences, and the fact that those white producers only wanted to see these kinds of images. So we stopped seeing images of strong black women who were from the neighborhood, like your Roxannes, your Salt and Peppers, your Queen Latifahs, your MC Lytes, and many others. We went from seeing those to starting to see these promiscuous type images, which started with a group called B Words with Problems. Now, your B Words with Problems was a rap group that was all about presenting a negative image of black women in the vein of 2 Live Crew, and I think there was another group called H's with Attitude that also was in the vein of 2 Live Crew, and they were not here promoting, again, sexual promiscuity and negative images of black womanhood, and that started the decline of the black woman's image in rap and hip-hop. And then later on, after these groups, we got your Little Kim, and after we got your Little Kim, we started to see a real drop in the image of black womanhood in rap and hip-hop. And ever since then, we have seen your soft feminine rapper who was just a girl from around the way turning into a Jezebel image that fit the narrative of white supremacy. And that's what we've been seeing, and that's why your 2022 rappers are not as good as your 80s female rappers, because your 80s female rappers, while they were with the men, they were not competing against the men. No, they were rapping about their stories and rapping about their experiences as a black woman, and they were talking about life from their perspective. So one of the things I used to love about old 80s rap from the ladies was the ladies would tell their stories, and they would go out here and they would not only show that they could tell their stories, but they had to have the same lyrical flow as the guys, and they had to have the same rhymes as the guys. Whereas when you start to step into the 90s and the 2000s and the 2010s and the 2000 teens, we don't see the women going out here focusing on developing their lyricism, their wordplay, or their flow anymore. No, it's all about your image, and many of these female rappers today, they have a very caricaturized feminine image that borders on looking like a man in drag in some cases. So your Megan Thee Stallions and your Cardi B's, the reason why we see these kind of rappers with this very masculine presence is because many of these women, they use these gimmicks to get attention, and they use these gimmicks to get attention because a lot of times they don't have the skills on the mic as related to their wordplay, as related to their ability to get on the mic and go out here and drop a freestyle. A lot of them do not have any sort of lyrical flow. A lot of them don't really work on their craft. So a lot of them try to use visuals to get men's attention because a lot of times they don't really want to go out here and work on their talent like female rappers in the past, like Roxanne did, or your MC Lyte, or your Queen Latifah. I mean, back in the day, you had to have your lyrical skills on point. You had to have your wordplay on point. And again, while you had a look that was fitting the neighborhood, a lot of these women, this is who they are. So when it comes down to today's, what this reviewer calls, manly female rapper, today's female rapper in a lot of cases does not work on their craft, and that's why they're kind of corny in ways, because all they have is a gimmick. And once you separate the gimmick from the music, they really aren't saying much. I mean, basically, when you look at your Cardi B's WAP, it's nowhere near on the level of your Salt and Peppers Push It, or your Queen Latifah and her early albums, or Moni Love's Moni in the Middle. There was a story in a lot of those early songs, but there's no story in today's songs like WAP, WAP it just feels like you're listening to somebody talking about pornography. But there was a story that was about a person. Like when you listen to some of the classic MC Lyte songs or some of the other songs like ISIS's Rebel Soul, there was something there of substance. But these rappers today, these female rappers, they're all about flash and they're all about gimmicks. And that's the way it's been since about the mid 90s with the H's with problems or H's with attitude or your Foxy Brown or your Little Kim. We went from very rappers with a lot of substance to rappers with a lot of flash, and that has really led to what we're seeing with today's music, which is a contrast to the effeminized guys like your Little Nas X. You would get a masculine female because when you have an effeminized male, you get a masculine female in contrast. But this is something that white supremacy is doing deliberately because they don't want you to see strong masculine men like those who went out here and made rap music what it is today. I mean, they don't want you to see guys like your Cool Hercs or your guys out here that were out here making different types and styles of rap, because all of those old school rappers, they represented black manhood and black masculinity because they wanted to present a positive image of black manhood and black masculinity, and they wanted to express a positive message in their music. But that's because black men at the time were controlling the music, and because black men were controlling the music at the time, this is why we got positive images of black men in rap. Moreover, we got positive humanized images of black women in rap because the men who made the rap music wanted to see a woman who reflected their image in their music and on the covers of their albums, because they were selling their music to brothers and sisters, and they wanted to put the most attractive women who could go out here and had good lyrical flow on the covers of their albums. So black men wanted music that reflected them, and that's why the music with the female rappers of the 80s was so fantastic, because we were listening to sisters who were on our block, and we were listening to them tell their stories, and they were not out here bashing the black man. No, they were out here talking about their experiences with black men. And you could hear that, and again, in the classic MC Lyte song, Excuse Me Miss, where she's with Positive K. And again, this is her telling her story and doing it in a tactful and tasteful way. So when we make our music, it's about us. And again, that's something that's lost on today's rappers, because today's female rappers are basically images that white supremacy wants us to see of ourselves. They want us to see a Cardi B or a what's her name, Megan Thee Stallion. And again, I don't really believe that these are black American women, but again, white supremacy wants you to see these negative images of black women because it's the narratives that they want to see. The white supremacists, they only see black people through the same stereotypes they've had since the antebellum South, whether it be the black brute or the minstrel or the black Jezebel. And these are the images they feel comfortable with. And this is why your rap music today is so terrible, because today's rap music is not made by black people for black people like it was during my day in the 80s, where you had black men making music for black people and creating stories that were about us. No, today's rap music is made by white supremacists and black bootlicks, and it's made primarily to breathe brand new life into old stereotypes that make people feel comfortable about their ideas about black people. It's not us telling our story to the world anymore, and that's why you see these caricaturized female rappers, because this is what they want to see. It's not our music. And again, back in the 80s, I was blessed to grow up to see our music made by us and see our people like the late Scott LaRock making our music and keeping it in as something that was positive for us. Sadly, that's not what we're getting with today's female rappers, which are just, again, diametrically opposed to the empowering messages of women like Queen Latifah or women like Isis from X-Clan or the women like your Miss Melody, or many women like Roxanne. Many of these women, again, they would go out here and put positive images and positive stories out here for the sisters, but we're not getting that because what your modern rap run by whites is, they want to promote images that are dysfunctional for black people and toxic for the black female mind. But your old school rap, again, had some of the most beautiful sisters out here, going out here dropping lyrics, and you just had to experience it in order to enjoy it. I mean, I grew up in the 80s, and again, I was blessed to hear this music and see these sisters out here, and it was a wonderful time. And if you can ever get a chance to look at some 80s female rappers, you'll hear a completely different sound, and you'll see how a black woman can be beautiful and have great lyrical flow. Now, I hope this answers the question for the viewer who requested this topic. And if you want to request a topic, you can drop a Cash App by clicking the link in the description box. And if I know something about that subject, I will make that video for you. So if you want to pick up some of my positive black fiction on the SJS Direct imprint, like the ISIS series, the E-Steam series, the John Haynes series, and the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, you can find all those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them on Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, E-Steam Goddess of. Hell's aspiring angel takes on a demonic dominatrix in this action-packed, all-new E-Steam series adventure. Get E-Steam Goddess of in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today.